Welcome to the Essential Book Proposal, a writer's guide to what it is, why you need it, and how to make it awesome. My name is Karen Yates. This is Curtis Yates. We are literary agents, and we're also author coaches at authorcoaching.com. We're excited to dive into this course with you. We're going to be looking at all the essential components of a book proposal, and we're going to be actually showing you examples from authors we work with, looking at their book proposals to give you an idea of what you need to include in your book proposal to make it awesome. There are some really essential things that you need to have into your book proposal, things that we look for in book proposals that are submitted to us. And so we want to walk you through what is a book proposal and why do you even need one?
Yeah, let's start with what is a book proposal? That's a pretty important question to get this started with. So a book proposal is an essential sales tool that you write and you create that is used by agents and acquisitions editors to evaluate your book idea. It is essentially a comprehensive pitch that you're making about all of the essential important elements that those people who are evaluating your book idea need in order to decide whether they want to work with you, whether they want to take you on as a client if it's an agent, or if it's they want to invest in your book and publish your book from the publishing side. It's also essentially your resume as a writer. Mm-hmm. It is convincing and showing you have what it takes to publish a book and why somebody should believe that they could publish your book. And then finally, it's really a tool for you. It's a developmental guide. It's a process that you work through where you unpack and you develop all of these key crucial elements about your book project that then informs for you the writing process itself. It all builds on itself and informs how you ultimately go about writing your book.
Yeah, we cannot emphasize enough how important your book proposal is. We get submissions for book proposals all the time, stacks of them. And really, if your book proposal is not good, if it's not written well, if your idea is underdeveloped, if you're missing some of these essential components, you won't get published. I hate to say it that way. It doesn't matter how good your writing chops are or how good your book is. If you don't have a strong book proposal, you won't be able to get an agent and you won't be able to get in front of editors or anyone in the acquisitions team. So this book proposal is very important. It is not a small thing at all. And so we're really proud of you and glad that you're investing in making sure that you put your very best foot forward. The reality is you're actually going to be going up against thousands of authors, aspiring authors just like you. And as agents, we can tell you, like I said, we have stacks of proposals that are sent to us where we're constantly evaluating which projects we can take on. We have a limited amount of time to look through those proposals. And so you want to make sure that your proposal really stands out, really makes an awesome impression on an agent or an acquisitions editor, or it won't happen for you.
You may already know this, and that's why you purchased this course, that the book proposal is truly essential and that you can't get published without it traditionally. But it also might surprise you that there are a lot of aspiring authors who don't know that, who don't realize that the gateway to getting traditionally published starts with the book proposal. We coach authors all the time, and we've had a number of those folks. And then we have, people who just submit to us as agents all the time, and they just send us a manuscript.
Yeah.
And I hate to break it to you, but 99 times out of 100, it's probably more like 999 times out of 1,000. When somebody sends us nothing but a manuscript, we don't read it and we move on. Frankly, we just don't have time to read hundreds of pages to determine whether this is a project that we want to take on or not. It's nothing personal against you or any other authors. It's simply pragmatics. And so that's what the book proposal is. The book proposal is this formulaic document that is broken down into nuts and bolts and bite-sized pieces where we can go through and look at exactly what we want to know about you and about your book project and do it efficiently. That's what agents are looking for, and that's what publishers are looking for. They are, as Karen said, they're looking at literally thousands over the course of a year. Agents and editors get thousands of book proposals and submissions every single year. And so you can imagine they can't justify, they can't contribute, they can't spend hours and hours on each project just to decide whether or not it's something they want to even pursue.
Mm-hmm.
And so the book proposal, as they're going through the book proposal, they're looking for, you can imagine, they're looking at thousands a year. They're looking at a lot every time they sit down to go into proposal mode or submission mode. And they're just plowing through. And they're looking for a reason to say no, because there's so many of them. They can only say yes to a very, very tiny sliver few. And so they're looking, as they're going through your proposal, for a reason to say no. And so you need to make sure that yours is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make sure that there's not any reason on any page for them to say no to your proposal. The quality of your book proposal will absolutely 100% determine the chances that you have of getting traditionally published. A mediocre book proposal does not result in a book publishing deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another thing agents are looking for, but publishers especially, are looking at your book proposal to see, is this a financially viable project for us? Are we going to make money? Are people going to buy this book? So one of the things your book proposal is supposed to do is to help them see, oh yeah, this book is going to be financially beneficial for us. We're going to get a profit off of this book. So that's another thing that they're looking when they're evaluating your book proposal. It should be persuasive as well. It should demonstrate your book idea is strong enough to reach audiences and that it's going to sell. Your book proposal is a marketing tool, and it should also show your writing chops. In your book proposal, we'll get to this later, but you include 2 sample chapters, a minimum of 2 sample chapters. And so if they get through your book proposal and they find it interesting and compelling and strong enough, they are going to look at your writing as well to see, is this a financially viable project for us? Is this compelling? Is this persuasive enough? Do I think we're going to sell a lot of copies of this book? So, and as Curtis mentioned, your book proposal is not just for agents and editors, but it's also for you. It is a developmental tool that will help you really hone and sharpen your book idea and what you want to say and how you want to say it. I can tell you, as an agency and when we're helping our author coaching clients, we like to encourage aspiring authors to move towards writing their book proposal because it fleshes out a whole lot of aspects. You're forced to look at your target audience. You're forced to reevaluate your premise. You're forced to look at, what's unique about selling that would sell your book. So there's a whole lot of elements that are essential for your book proposal that are going to be used not just by us, but also by you, so that you go into writing your book later on with a lot of confidence. You've thought through all the little details. You've made sure to be thorough. And so it's going to be something that you're going to refer back to in the writing process.
Absolutely. I want to come back to something I was saying earlier about when agents or publishers sit down with a stack of proposals and they're just plowing through and they're looking for a reason to say no. The book proposal is built and designed, and we're going to teach you and lay it out for you step by step, each component of the book proposal. But it's intended and it's organized in a fashion that's intended to build on each other. Mm-hmm. Every component, every element builds and leads to the next one. And so as you work through your proposal and as you complete your proposal, every single piece and every element needs to build on itself, and it needs to continually sell the reader. Mm-hmm. Every step of this process, every stage, you have to win that reader over because, again, they're looking for a reason to say no. They have 25 others they got to get through in the next hour. And so if they can find something that's wrong with yours, if there's 3 typos on the first page, done, moving on. So it needs to be excellent. It needs to be clean. It needs to be crisp and clear. It needs to be concise. It needs to be really articulate and compelling. And so think as you're going through about the idea that you cannot cut, again, I said this a minute ago, you can't cut corners. Everything's got to be excellent. And it's all, every single time, every page they're reading, you're continually trying to win them over and get them to keep going. You want them to get to the sample chapters that are going to be at the end.
You do.
And most of the time, we don't get to the sample chapters. We review a lot of proposals, and most of the time, we find some reason before we get to the end of the sample, to get to that section at the end, the sample chapters, to say no and to move on. Because frankly, the thing that takes the longest to read is the sample chapters.
Right.
So if I can say no before I get to sample chapters, I've saved myself a bunch of time.
That's true. Yeah. So we've talked about, what is the book proposal? We've talked about who uses it, which are agents and editors, and yourself, you use it. But we're going to, and Curtis has shared a little bit about, not how we all don't read the entirety of every proposal. But I do want to tell you some people that are going to be reading your proposal and evaluating it. Within the publishing team, if you get an agent or if you end up submitting to an acquisitions editor, your proposal is going to be seen by a whole lot of people within that publishing house. It's not just seen by that one editor. If that editor likes your project, she's going to take it to her ed board. And if the ed board likes it, they're going to take it to pub board. And so you're going to have editors, marketers, salespeople, a whole host of evaluations being done on your book proposal. So marketers might look at the platform section of your book proposal, or they might look at, a marketing section of your book proposal. Sales reps are going to look at your previous sales history. They are also going to look at your comparable titles. Editors might jump to looking at your premise, your overview, your chapter outlines and summaries. So the point is, you're going to have, it's not just the agents and the one editor. This book proposal that you develop, we want you to understand, is going to be seen by a whole host of individuals who are the gatekeepers. They're the ones that are going to say thumbs up or thumbs down to your book proposal. And so again, like Curtis said, you want to put your best foot forward, every element of the essential book proposal, to make sure that you get through every single door and you have the best chance of being traditionally published. So, as we said, this is going to be an awesome course, and we're really excited to dive deep with you into what your book proposal is, why it's essential, and how to make it awesome. So stick around as we head to the next module.